good day to all our viewers. Today we have the Dian of communication with us, sharing this space. It is such a pride to have this communication with him because he has been exponentially growing in the field of communication, and he has shown his expertise in communication, in PR, in people management, in world communication, and his connect with industrialists, his connect with professionals has been extraordinary. So to give you a quick brief about our special guest today is Mr. Maxim Behar. He's from Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria. And he is the CEO, chairman of M3 Communication Group, expert in Bulgarian PR, and whose work has been appreciated and awarded in Bulgaria, Europe, India, and across globe. And he's the founder member of the World Communication Association, and he's a present president. He is also the International Growth Chair for International Communication Consultancy Organization. He's the Honorary Counsel General of Republican of Seychelles in Bulgaria. And he's also the ambassador for African PR Association and senior consultant for Chinese International PR Communication. He has also started a college called M3 Communication College, and most importantly, and the prestigious award, the Best PR Professional in Europe by the PR Week Annual Global Awards. So we just cannot ask for more to learn about public relations and communication, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Behar, to join us today. And it is such a pride to be connecting with you. So to begin with,
Namaste, India.
Thank you so much. So to begin with, I just have an open question and then we can have a quick conversation. Communication, precisely global communication, is it just a philosophy or is it even possible? Having different languages, multi-language, multicultural, do we even have something called global communication? And please define global communication for us.
First of all, communications is business and nothing else. But as many businesses throughout the history in the world, today communications is one of the most important businesses globally. And also, for my understanding, the most dynamic business, developing very fast and changing very fast. Global communications now is every communications we have, even in our families, even in our neighborhoods, even in our small communities, because of the existence of social media. Very often, a talk, a discussion, or some exchange of opinions within a small community can become global in a couple of minutes. 4 billion users of social media all over the world. These days, this means 4 billion media, 4 billion place to express your opinion or points of view, to share your news. And this means 4 billion editors-in-chiefs all over the world running their media. From that perspective, I think that each communication is global, and global communications is also local, because there is a huge amount of exchange of information and exchange of analysis of different concepts all over the world. So I don't see any difference between the local, between the global, between the, let's say, 4 eyes or 2 heads or 2 persons communications. Everything is global.
Oh, that's very clearly put. Thank you so much. And you have a very unique combination of expertise in peace studies and public affairs, which is a very unique combination. And we being the largest democracy, India being the largest democracy, still public affairs is one topic which has not been completely defined in the way it is defined in the West. So if you could just give us an understanding about first the peace studies and public affairs and your insights to developing countries like India when it comes to public affairs.
First of all, I love India. Not that I like India, not that I enjoy my travels there or my friends. I simply love India, and I'm a great dost of India. And I appreciate the way democracy is developing, appreciate your personalities, culture, history, nature, and also I regret very much of what's happening recently with the coronavirus and all the sad stories. But I'm sure that Indian people are strong. They will overcome. They will get out of this much stronger, much more united, and I hope with much more knowledge, because this is very important. Public affairs these days is something which is absolutely and must be transparent, ethical, and good functioning between the societies and the governments, if we speak about public affairs. I'm very cautious using the word lobbying, being in our business, because in the modern times, lobbying is always moving on the edge between the suspicious acts and the transparent acts. But as you said, public affairs is a very good word. And I think that this is an act where the societies now, these days, are pushing their governments or their executive bodies or institutions to act in favor of the people, to act transparently, to act ethically, and to act efficiently. Because very often we can have a ministry of, let's say, economy or trade or important ministries, being very transparent, being very ethical, but doing zero. And we don't need such an institutions. So again, I'm going back to social media. With social media, societies are these days enough strong that they rarely go on the street and exposing their opinions or their wishes, but they go on Facebook, they go on Twitter, they go on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, LinkedIn, name it, and they say to their governments, if they don't do the job, enough is enough. Please get out and we would like to have another elections. Or if they do the job properly, they say to their governments, we support you guys. Please do your job in a way you're doing because we would like to live better. At the end of the day, people all over the world, they would like to live in peace. You know, there is no good war. And recently what's happening between Israel and Palestine and Gaza and whatever, no, there is no good war. People would like to live in peace, and also people would like to live better. Some of them, of course, are willing to work more. Some of them are not willing to work at all. But it doesn't matter, people are different. The important task of each government, of each institution, is to make peace and to bring much more benefits to the human's life. And this can happen only with hard work and also with a lot of knowledge. I'm telling my office almost every day, and now we work home office, so we communicate every day on Zoom, on different platforms, and I'm telling them, read, because knowledge is of great importance. Knowledge is changing every single day. Brand new things are put on the table, brand new management rules, brand new governmental rules, and all of them, they depend on communications. So 2021, we have absolutely unlimited chance to get knowledge. Social media, Google, different sources, even Academy of Sciences, even the Nobel Prize winners. You can see Nobel Prize winner on Zoom or Google or any other, or YouTube, something which never ever happened before. And we were even didn't think about that 10 years ago, that we can communicate with someone who has a lot of knowledge. So if we have knowledge, then ethics, transparency, and hard work, this combination, this puzzle will bring all the nations to great success.
Wow, that's a very insightful way of connecting peace study and public affairs. I think that's a beautiful connect which you have thrown, and that's a beautiful ray of light which you have given. How important is to have peace studies along with public affairs. And now, asking you a question about this World Communication Forum Association, which you have been the founder member and which you are the president right now. So could you just give us some insights about what you've been doing there and what the organization is about?
World Communications Forum Associations is based in Davos, Switzerland, and we were doing events since 1 decade, at least, in this beautiful mountain resort where the presidents and prime ministers are meeting for the World Economic Forum. And then afterwards, we were doing something like a follow-up with the Communications Forum. And we stayed in Davos. The World Economic Forum, for one or another reason, was held online this year. And of course, we were holding also online, and they plan to move to different places. It's a great community of high-level professionals, and I can say also great community of good friends. Throughout the years, we had many times very high-level Indian guests and Indian participants. Mr. Yogesh Joshi, who is the president of the Association of Business Communicators of India, is a great friend and was an honorable speaker in many of our forums. But most important is two things. First of all, we cover all over the world. We have members from Australia, we have members from Canada, we have members from many, many, many other countries all over the world, Africa, of course, Latin America, everywhere. And secondly, we have excellent personal relations between us. So when we meet at our summits or our meetings, it might be very naive, but first of all, we embrace each other, then we handshake, then we go have a drink, and then we discuss the serious business communications issues and topics and questions. Personally, I rely always on personal relations, on very good communications with people, because you can go to any other forums all over the world, sitting somewhere with a laptop or with a tablet, writing interesting things which you hear or listen, whatever. And then you go back home, you read. But personal relations is something which makes a very stable follow-up of this knowledge. So we are communicating between ourselves almost every day within the World Communications Forum Associations. We exchange our knowledge. We were doing already 2 big summits, 2020 and 2021. The last World Communications Summit, or Davos Communications Summit, was visited by 450 participants all over the world, which is a very good number of high-level professionals with excellent speakers. We were launching for the past 2 months the Davos Communications Awards with huge number of participants, which wanted to present their achievements in the field of public relations, public affairs, digital communications. And also, I plan to launch in 1 or 2 months the Davos Communications Academy, because the knowledge we have, especially with the academy professors or different teachers which we have as members, it will be a great honor if they can share their knowledge and, most important, practical case studies to the young people and to the students. So if I can describe with just a couple of words World Communications Forum Association, I would say friends, professionals, and visionaries.
Okay. I cannot agree more when you said when there is a world arena of communication or a discussion, the amount of exposure, the amount of confidence, and the amount of understanding is beyond explanation. And I'm sure this is what the participants get back when they come and attend your forums. And you have always been, in fact, you have been one of the very rare communication experts who have spoken about political communication, and who has also given a statement saying that youngsters are very essential to take up this communication in a, for a better form. And because we have also been associated with a few initiations like this called the Next Gen Political Leaders, wherein we kind of give exposure to the young politicians and young aspirants who want to join in politics. And we give them some webinars, we give them some training. So would want to know from you, sir, like how important is communication in the political arena?
That's the most important thing. Because again, I go back to the previous story. You can do miracles. If people don't know about that, first of all, they will not get the good case studies and the ways people are managing political parties, ministries, states. And also, without communications, people cannot get the best of your experience and implement it in their businesses. So it's very important that politicians are communicating between themselves, between the societies and the governmental bodies. And I'm absolutely sure that politicians should explain every single day what they do and how they do it, because these days they're under control every single minute. When we didn't have a social media, then it was most probably easier because politicians had one-way communications. They give an interview to India Times, let's say, and India Times is publishing the interview with the Minister of Foreign Affairs or Minister of Economy, and this is one-way communications. But now you publish an interview on India Times and it's online, then you have 100,000 opinions. Then people can say, hey guy, you're right or you're wrong, or you should do the things much wiser, much better, or you're doing the things perfectly, so thank you very much about that. And also people have their opinions how to run the country and how to manage the institutions and the attitude towards the voters and towards people. So from that perspective, now we have not only two-way communications, even sometimes we have a governmental body, and then we have, especially in Indian case, 100,000 people going there and commenting online in minutes what you said and what you shared. And politicians and their advisors must be very, very good in communications in order to react and also to take lessons, because sometimes people are much more right than any minister. Then the minister, if he is enough wise, should say, oh, they're right, let's change this and let's change that. I just want to add to your previous questions, to my previous story. India has 3 representatives in the Global Executive Board of the World Communications Forum. This is the only country that has 3 representatives. We have Saurabh and Ganesh from Chennai and Saurabh from Delhi on my Global Executive Board, and mentioned already Yogi Shoshi is our controller. And in all Global Executive Board, we have just 1 member from each country. India has 3, so appreciation.
That's so very kind of you, and that's more motivating for all of us as an Indian. We're really proud that we could take up some space in the international forum on the communication front. So now that you have touched about social media, which what you were saying that internet communication, so you being from the print media, still feel that probably print media will not survive longer, and it's the digital world which is going to take it further, and the social media is going to take it further. But yet you had given a comment saying that it is a little chaotic. So can you just give us some insights about that?
I spent about 20 years of my life in the printed media. I was editor-in-chief of a daily newspaper. And when I resigned and started my own business, and then it was at the very, very, very beginning of the internet. And then when internet appeared, even before social media, it was absolutely clear that the printed media will go out and will fade away. And when I started sharing, it was the end of 90s, then a lot of people were calling me and were saying, Max, you're very stupid. The newspapers will live forever. They will never disappear. Why are you talking about that? You were with one of us and you were editor of this newspaper, and then you're talking against your past and whatever. And I was saying, listen, guys, this is the reality. This is the reality. And let me say this way, especially after social media appeared, newspapers, the printed media, will disappear, and will disappear very soon. Not because they're bad, not because this is bad journalism, but because financially they will not be able to survive. And the reason is very simple. The advertisers would like to advertise much more in social media because of a couple of reasons, but two of them are important. First of all, social media are targeted. Then you want to advertise in Uttar Pradesh or in a favorite state of Goa, or the state who has same name as I have, Bihar in India. So you would like to advertise there, then you target your advertising to Goa or to Uttar Pradesh or the others, or to New Delhi or Mumbai, whatever. First of all, this is very targeted. And then you can choose young people, mainly female, with whatever interest, with whatever education. It's very, very, very big advantage for the advertisers. Number two, first time in the history ever, a media is measurable. Because social media are measurable exactly. Just assume that you put an advertising in a printed newspaper, and then the advertiser goes to the editor and says, excuse me, I apologize, but can you please tell me how many people saw this advertising? And then the editor says, oh, we have 100,000 in India, especially 100,000 circulation. Then 4 people read this newspaper. So 400,000 people read your advertising. It's not true because you cannot prove it. But in social media, of course you can prove it. And you can prove it up to the single reader. So that's why the advertisers, the people who are giving money to the journalists, they will go to social media, and the newspapers, of course, will be good, will be nice, will be professional, will have good journalism. But the advertisers will not go there. So the newspapers should raise their price a lot, and should raise their price so much that the customers will not be able to afford it.
So now that, Mr. Behar, you have given such a clarity about the responsibility of media and, well, the responsibility of media, why would it go from the print to digital? At this COVID situation, should we not also consider about the responsibility of media in handling the emotional situation? Because I feel the social media, because there is no standardization there. So there is much of scope for people to create the panic during this pandemic, and there is no stern, guidelines for it. So how do we even cater if social media is going to come in the front line, the mainstream? Then wouldn't it be a little more chaotic?
Social media are in the front line even during pandemic, and we can see it with very single view, because all the right and all the fake news are shared on social media in a way that people are reading mainly them, but very on a low profile are listening to the communications from the ministries, from the doctors even, because usually people read much more social media. And again, they trust much more social media. They trust even maybe a taxi driver with a second-hand laptop sitting somewhere in the garage or in the garden or in a coffee shop can write things, and if he writes this in an interesting way, much more people will listen to the taxi driver or his opinion, or a waitress, or whatever intelligent person, than to the minister who appears very official and who says things which very often people don't understand. For my big disappointment, the governments didn't manage to use the social media in the best possible way to deliver their messages to the societies. And pandemic, which we had with coronavirus, had never been before. Of course, we had 100 years ago the so-called Spanish influenza or Spanish virus. We didn't have, not social media, we didn't have any media at that time except newspapers, which appeared on Tuesday and were going to the other side of the country next Tuesday. So in 1 week difference, can happen so many things. Today, even for 5 minutes, we registered such a significant changes. But on the other hand, there are millions of advantages for social media, and there are some disadvantages. One of them is the fake news. Number one, that's the most important. And the societies, the governments should have very clear vision, very clear approach, how to handle the fake news pandemic, let's say, because sometimes, the coronavirus pandemic will disappear, I'm sure, but the fake news pandemic, we should fight, and we should fight every single day. On the other hand, also a big disadvantage is that some social media allow, for one or another reason, that people are anonymous there. They have nicknames, they don't share their pictures, they don't share their real names, and it's a big disease because all those people can spread, and usually they spread fake news, but also can spread lies, also can spread wrong things, or wrong information about different people or policies or governments or societies. But if you look at 10, 12 years ago, the situation was much worse. These days, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're fighting against fake news a lot. And I see very positive developments. So I truly believe social media is running the news flow or the information flow in the world these days. And if we, with all our efforts, if we put an order of exchange of information and make it much more personalized and much more ethical and transparent, then it will bring only benefits to the government. A lot of people are afraid of social media. And they say, no, we don't trust social media. Oh, we are very careful of social media because they say bad things or wrong things or fake. Go back 1 century ago when Mr. Henry Ford introduced his first gasoline car. They call it at that time gasoline car. We call it today automobile or a car. So when they introduced the first gasoline car, a lot of people are saying, no way, it cannot exist, because this heavy machine, and they used to have before that horse cart, and this heavy machine can kill people. They need gasoline, and also the tires can blow up, and also the engine could be out of order. No way, it cannot exist, it cannot survive. But this today, we don't drive horse carts, we drive automobiles. So I can compare this with social media, because a lot of people say social media are very, very dangerous. They can destroy someone's brand or someone's image. And we have fake news, and we have nicknames, we don't have real people, and this and that. Of course, that it will survive. With all our efforts, we'll make them more personalized, more ethical, and more real.
That's very promising. Actually, when we talk about social media, it is with a lot of anticipation and it is with a lot of fear. But I'm sure this explanation of yours gives a lot of confidence And the beautiful example which you have given, I'm sure it's going to cling a lot of minds here. So now that we've spoken about a very important part, which is the fake news, and there's another important point which we wanted to discuss with you is women in communication. So incidentally and very, what do you say, very improvisingly, we get to see you having a bunch of women communicators at back of you when you have been receiving your awards. So that's a global message from you, from a person who looks, who's seen as a monarch of communication, having a fleet of women at back of him when he's receiving the award. Was it, did you do that because you wanted to spread a message, or is that the way of your work? And second thing, how are women in communication?
It's a very female business. And never, ever, ever, of course, divide people into sex or race or religion or nature or whatever. It's, for me, it's one and the same. If you see the pictures of my office, you will see that 98% of the company is dominated by women, by females.
Oh.
And I have just a couple of men working with me, and that's the reason that I never ever look at the person having in mind his or her sex or region or whatever. So I just, I have only one request when I appoint a new employee in the company. That's only one demand, only one request. I don't, and sorry for saying this, but that's the reality. I don't look at his or her education. I don't look where from is the person, how old is he or she, then I don't care. I just have one demand, one request, sparks in the eyes, nothing else. When I make an interview for a new employee, I look always at her or hers or his eyes. And if I feel spark in the eyes, that means ambitious to develop her or him or himself, ambitious to make a career, ambitious to get some interesting knowledge, ambitious to work in a modern company. So I think that in public relations business, women are very, very strong power. They understand, first of all, they make much better teams than men. That's my point of view. I might be right, might be wrong, but my experience shows that women make much better teams. They understand each other better. They're much more ambitious, much more knowledgeable, and much more consistent when they want to achieve something. And, it's long years in business, almost 30 years in business, making teams, trying to understand people. And I came to this conclusion that, again, I don't want to divide between men and women, but I feel much more comfortable if my team has better understanding and has a much better communications between them, if they're friends. And I found that in this business, women have better and more efficient communication skills.
Well, so I just cannot look out for a better motivating statement from a person like you. Because in developing countries, unfortunately, women are yet to establish themselves in the communication field. Apart from the media, yes, they're doing good in media these days. But when it comes to that intellectual communication, or when it comes to public relations, or when it comes to other kind of communication, women in the developing countries are yet being seen not very capable of handling the situation. But you, from your desk coming, and then you having an office of about 98% of women, I'm sure this is like a bomb of energy for all women who have high aspirations to grow. And thank you so much for that very strong message. And I also was wishing to know from you, like, what is your expectation from youngsters? yes, you do look at people through their eyes, and the spark in the eyes, and other very catchy statement which you have given us. And what do you look at youngsters, and what is your expectation from the younger generation when it comes to communication?
First of all, this is crucially important. How do you define young and old? Because that's not the age. That's not the age, definitely. That's not the age. These days, a teenager between 12 and 15 years old can be much more capable than a person who is 50 years old. Much more capable, with much more knowledge, with much better education and much better reaction. So what is the definition of a young person and what is the definition of the old person? And I'll tell you my opinion. This is the speed of taking decisions, nothing else. I know young people who are 20 years old, and they're much older in their minds, in their visions, than a person who is 60 years old. Because it depends on the personality. It depends on the nature of the heart, of the brain. And I think the speed of taking decision is absolutely crucial for defining someone, whether he is young or old. The younger, the faster taking decisions. And let me tell you one of my main principles in life and in my office. This is the principle of 3S. I think that based on those 3S is the future of the modern business. And this is speed, simplicity, self-confidence. Speed, because taking decision, the speed of taking decision, taking quick decisions, it's crucial these days. And I always say that the worst decision is better than no decision. People must take decisions every single day, minute, second even. You can correct your decision later on, but you must take it. Because sometimes, especially in business, we see situations that people say, I don't know, let me wait, let me think, let me see. And it's a disaster. So this is speed. Speed of communications, speed of answering your emails, speed of answering your messages on Facebook, speed of posting pictures and news on Facebook, speed of everything. Simplicity is the second S, and this is also crucial. Simplicity means that you should have priorities. You wake up in the morning, you have 25 tasks to do this day, and even if you put them on a list, you see all of them and say, oh my gosh, how can I manage this? Put your priorities, make it simple. Put what is the most important, the second important, then number 3, then number 4, number 5, and then if you can do the rest, you do the rest. If not, it's not a disaster, but you have priorities. But also, simplicity means that when you post on social media, you must be very short, you must be very clear. Sometimes people are writing on social media the same way they're writing books. Sometimes you read something and you don't understand at all what this person would like to say. And number 3, which is basically number 1, self-confidence. I don't know a single successful person in business or even in private life, in social life, or in politics in the world without self-confidence. And these days, the capable people should have a self-confidence. They should know what they want to achieve and how to achieve it. So those 3S are crucially important for the success, for my understanding, of each person in the modern world.
Well, I'm out of words now. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to share, first of all your secrets. And the simple way is simplicity. And that's really very true. Break the big work into small pieces and just start doing the work instead of just looking the work very big. And that makes really a lot of sense. And I wouldn't do justice if I not talk about this international communication consultancy organization where you are the chair for international growth. So coming back to that, if you could just give us a little more insight about that and how different is that from this World Communication Forum Association?
ICO, International Communications Consultancy Association, organization, is the largest public relations community in the world. I've been, and it's deeply, deeply in my heart. I've been on the board for the past 12 or 13 years, and I was a treasurer, then vice president, then a president, and I stayed after I was a president in the Global Executive Board, the Global Executive Committee of ICO, and I was appointed recently as chair for international growth in order to use my experience and to get on board much more countries and much more points of view and much more cultures and achievements. So I'm working very hard on that job. But again, I was a president, and I know also the organization inside, and I know the way it functions, and it's a great community of high-level expertise in a way that no one can imagine even in this professional business, that we should gather in one and the same place such a great experts from more than 70 countries all over the world. So one of the most important, I'd say, task of ICO is the professional standards which we impose to the communities and we share with them all over the world. Public relations is very Anglo-American business. It was born in the United States and they moved to the United Kingdom. And then even when I was started this 28 years ago, it was not as much developed in countries in Europe, even in India, China, many big countries, Japan, big markets. So public relations was something like advertising, but advertising with more communications with media. And the big difference between public relations and advertising was that advertising buys media, public relations earns media. And that was the big difference. These days, I think that there is a process of a global merge of the three most important parts of the global communications business. And this is advertising, public relations, and digital. What will be the future name, the future brand of this global merged business? Who knows? Because it will be clear most probably in 3 to 5 to 6 years. But on the other hand, there is a big fight. Who will lead this future merged or united business? A lot of people say advertising, because advertising buys media, advertising has the resources, has the creative departments. A lot of people say digital, because digital is the future, because the digital guys, they're developing different special places, they're managing social media, they can do SEO, the search engine optimizations, and this and that. But I say public relations will be the leader of future business, because this is all about the content. It's all about the content. And we, the public relations experts, and we truly believe this in ICO, we are creating the right content. We are the masters of storytellings. We are even creators of the graphic content and the video content within the social media. You can own an excellent website or an excellent profile in social media. If you don't supply with content every single day, then it will go down. But if you have a good content, then it will go up. So from that point, I believe that ECO is one of the most important communications communities in the world. And I'm very happy that current president of ECO is an Indian guy. My good friend Nitin Mantri, who used to be the president of the, most probably still is the president of the Indian PR Association, is a current president of ECO until end of October. But we are very proud. He's the first ever Indian president of ECO, and we are very proud that together with Nitin and together with our executive committee, we are doing excellent job to grow this community and to show to the world that this is one of the most important businesses these days.
Mr. Behar, because you have been the world's largest accumulation of PR and communication professionals in one single umbrella, don't you think accreditation is very important for any communication professional? And do you give any accreditations for people associations with you, or how do you even accredit a person as a good communicator?
It's a very tricky question, which had been discussed since decades, whether the PR professionals should be accredited like doctors or like lawyers. But I think that we should leave this to the market. You know, doctors are doctors. They're in a very special field of activities which concern our lives and our health. And this is really crucial, and you should have a very, very, very specialized knowledge in this business. Lawyers as well, because they should know the laws, the legal environment of each country. I think that communications experts should not be accredited. And also, our clients are the ones who can accredit or discredit us. Our clients are the ones who can say, this company can do the job, or this expert is a brilliant expert in his field of activity, in this case, public relations. And very easy, if we are not capable to do the job, or a company is not enough professional to provide good services, can be out of the market, because the clients will say, this company, this guy, this manager, this expert are not eligible to do the job because they're not professionals. So from that point of view, I think we should not have accreditation, and we should leave this to the open market and to the opinion of our clients, and of course of our brands, because we rely very much on the brands. And you know what is the brand? The brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And this is the most acceptable definition of a brand. So if our clients talk negatively about us when we are not in the room, then we are finished. We are not an experts. And the only accreditation to the PR experts can be given by the clients.
Or will there be in the future probably an accreditation board which comes up? Because that communication is one of the most inevitable profession for any organization to run. And now that, you know, the digital world coming in line and things can be quantified. So will it be, can we expect probably in near future sometime, there may be some accreditation. Is there a scope for it?
I can expect, of course, if it's done in one of the big markets like US, UK, Germany, India, China, Japan, then we can see the outcomes and whether it will be successful. But I can assume this, and I can predict that not far away from now, countries or organizations or institutions or communities can try to make accreditation of the communications profession. And if the results are promising, I would support such accreditation with all my heart and experience, of course, but we should see whether it will work and how it will work. And also, very important point, whether clients will accept our accreditation. Because sometimes the clients can say, okay, the company XYZ is not accredited, but we like them very much and we would like to work with them. So what will happen? Who can prohibit the clients, or who can stop clients to use the services of non-accredited company? I don't think it will work. But if there is a system and if it works, then I would support this, because our business is very dangerous if it's done in the wrong way. We have influence on the target audiences. We have influence on the societies. We are very influential persons who can handle media, both traditional and social. So there is a point that, okay, if you operate with media influence, then you should be ethical, then you should be honest, transparent, professional. But then again, the last point are our clients. If they like to work with us, they will work with us with accreditation or without accreditation, and no one can stop them.
So does this hold good for both the companies and individuals? Like as an individual expert, the description you're giving, does it hold good for both the company as well as the individual expert?
It will be good for both, that's for sure. But we should see how it will work. And the future is in front of us. So we can check this. We can start from India. We can make an experiment in India, and I will talk to Nitin Mantri. So if the Indian Peer Association can do this experiment, then I will support them.
That's a good hope. That's a huge hope. All right. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, if Mr. Behar, if I can tell you with all my heart, the more I was researching about you for this interview, the more I have actually had high respects, and I've been awed with the work you've been doing. So you breathe communication, you talk communication, you sleep communication, and you also started M3 Communication College. So tell us about that, and does it have scope for international students to be there? And do you have any online association for students who are unable to come down to your place?
We have online courses, of course, and we are mainly online, especially after the pandemic. Unfortunately, on that stage, the courses are only in local language, Bulgarian language, but we're planning until the end of the year to develop English language training courses, and I'm absolutely sure that will be very successful. Of course, education is the base of development of our business. On the other hand, business is the base of the development of the education. And it's a win-win situation. Because in the modern world, and I'm seeing many, many universities and lecturing in many, many universities all over the world. And I see the following case, that business is moving with 100 miles per hour speed. Education is moving with 20, 30 miles per hour. So business is moving very fast, education is moving very slow. It's not a big problem. The problem is the big gap, which is growing every single day in between the practice and the education. That's why I think that the more practitioners come to the universities, speak to the universities, talk to the universities, the better. And the more students come to the businesses, to the offices for internships, to work, to get knowledge, to feel the practice, to see the case studies, the better. So business and universities and education, colleges, and all type of education should be like one and the same every single day. Otherwise, it's a lost game. The businesses will not have in their offices good young people. And of course, the education, the universities will not have enough knowledge, because the knowledge these days is in our offices. The knowledge is in the companies, is not in the universities. So students should come to our offices and get the best of the practice.
Mr. Behar, you are the epitome of, what you can say, epitome of communication. And so I cannot stop myself from asking you this question. When you had received this ABCI award for the communicator of the decade, well, the president, Mr. Yogesh Joshi, was there on dais with you. And there was a promise which you gave that you will be focusing on India in the next decade. So was there something which had happened after that? Because we cannot let go, if I may say, a communication guru, which means a communication preacher like you, to be not very far from India. So, and because you have given us a commitment to be focusing on India, was there something that you could do with India henceforth from then?
Absolutely. First of all, when I received the award in 2012, I said two things. First of all, India Merijan, which I deeply have in my heart. And secondly, I said that I take this award as a credit. It's to be a communicator of a decade is a great honor, but also great responsibility. And afterwards, every single year, I communicate with my friends from India. I was the one to support Nitin Mantri to be promoted as the president of ECO with all my heart, and I was really sure, and I was absolutely convinced that India, with all his nature, with all its experience and philosophy, and also business achievement, can be very useful for the global PR communications society. So we've been doing with Yogesh Joshi and with many friends I have in India, a lot of discussions, a lot of workshops together. I came 3 or 4 times to India after the award and was a speaker in many different universities, mainly in Delhi and Mumbai. And also speaker at the forum organized by the Indian PR Association, by the Association of Business Communicators of India. So this is, and also Yogesh Joshi was my guest in Bulgaria. We were meeting with him in many other countries in the world and dealing as a joint team promoting both India and modern communications. But again, its credit had not been paid yet. So I think that my good relations with Indian friends from the communications business are still to come after the pandemic.
So now we can expect much of Mr. Behar's attributes and teachings to Indian professionals also. So may I take that?
You know, I accept this good first meeting and live communications with Prime Point Foundation as a startup of our meetings with your fans, members, viewers. I'm the easiest person to be found on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you have.
And that's how I caught you.
But also Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So whoever sees this interview or this conversation is mostly welcome to contact me. And if I can do anything for my India friends, we'll do it with all my heart and knowledge I have.
That's beautiful. In fact, just to add on with this point, Prime Point Foundation, we are a registered NGO for the past 20 years, and we've been heart and soul working for the development of communication. So I'm sure there can be something that we can look up to for making a better place for all the communication experts to have a standard way of doing business. Okay, and I think I have a closing question. Given a chance, I would never want you to end this interview, but yes, I have a closing question. Please tell us what will be the advice you would give for Indian professionals and probably other developing countries in the communication field.
Let me tell you a story. About 20 years ago, Conrad Hilton, who was the founder of the Hilton hospitality and hotels chain, had an interview in front of Jay Leno in whatever American TV. And at a certain point, Jay Leno said, "Mr. Hilton, we are about the end of the interview, and you have 20 seconds to say the most important thing in your life to our 50 million viewers, or 40 million, whatever it was a late show, Jay Leno." And then he said, "This camera is yours, Mr. Hilton. So please tell us the most important words in your life." And then Conrad Hilton looked at the camera and said, "Dear guests, please, when you take a shower, put the curtain inside the bath because a lot of water is going outside and it creates problems. Thank you very much." So everyone was, this was the most important thing in his life because a lot of water are wasting outside. So my advice, be pragmatic. Like this guy, Conrad Hilton, be pragmatic. Don't waste your time of unnecessary or stupid talks and conversations. And, life is so short that you should read the proper things, communicate with the proper people, learn the proper lessons, make the proper things in the business, be successful in a proper way, transparent and ethical. But at the end of the day, it's especially the pandemic and the coronavirus crisis learned us and taught us to be very pragmatic. If you are pragmatic, then you'll be professional. Then you will be good with your family even. Then you will be good with your friends and your companies. And also you will feel very comfortable to live on the planet Earth. So my advice is be pragmatic and everything will be fit on the place.
Well, there's so much learning in this interview with you, Mr. Behar, and it was really my pride to be connected with you on behalf of Prime Point Foundation, our e-magazine Presets, and our initiative Next Gen Political Leaders. And trust me, if we can learn so much in 1 hour, there's so much more to learn from you. And on behalf of Prime Point Foundation, we will do all that which is possible to ensure that your promise which you have given in the ABCI award function comes true. We will get the best out of you to make Indian markets get the best communication guru through you. And thank you so much for your time. And you have been really a wonderful person to talk to. And you're really very kind. Thanks a lot for your time.
It was my pleasure, my dosto. As I said, India Marijan, and I'll be very, very happy to be in touch with all your friends and viewers of this interview, of course. And when I come next time to India, I'll be very happy to visit the foundation and to talk to you in person. And shukriya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.